By the time you're watching this, Guild Wars 2 will be around 13 to 14 years old. And yet, the game still maintains a strong player base, gets quarterly content updates, and, as of creating this video, receives new expansions on a yearly basis. Thinking about getting into Guild Wars 2, or maybe you're coming back after a break, here's what you can expect in 2025 and 2026. My name is Kyo. I've been a Guild Wars player for 20 years, ever since the original, and here's my take. You'll start at the character creator. You can choose from 5 races: Human, Norn, Char, Azura, and Sylvari. Unlike in other MMOs, these races don't offer any gameplay advantages, so just pick the one you like best. And next, you'll select your class, or profession as we call it in Guild Wars 2. There are 8 base professions to choose from. There's also a 9th profession, the Revenant. This one unlocks if you own any of these expansions: Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, or End of Dragons. The Revenant was introduced in 2015 with Heart of Thorns, 3 years after the game's initial release. If you're starting out, I'd recommend picking an easy to learn profession like the Ranger, Guardian, or Necromancer. I also have a separate video that dives deeper into these professions if you want to learn more. Then, continue and you get options about your story. You can pick whatever you like here. Your story at the start gives a unique take, but all the storylines will collide halfway through. Once you've created a character you're happy with, you're ready to explore, and boy, the world has expanded massively since the game's launch in 2012. With all the new expansions and seasonal updates, the map has about doubled in size. Early on, you'll be introduced to your personal story, based on the choices while you were creating your character. This is your own narrative journey that you can follow. But here's a tip: don't forget to explore. Take your time exploring the world, because in Guild Wars 2, the world responds to your actions. Did you help a local farmer? That might trigger a new event somewhere else on the map. You see, Guild Wars 2 doesn't use the traditional quest system that you might be used to. Instead, it uses dynamic events that pop up across the map. These give you loot, gold, and experience, and makes the world feel alive. Your personal story is really the only traditional questline in the game. With the free base game, you can explore dozens of areas and fully experience the personal story. If you want even more to discover, I recommend getting the expansions once you reach max level. They open up larger, more detailed, and more challenging maps. Across 5 to 6 expansions, plus the Living World updates, there's a ton of extra content to explore and complete. To complete events and progress in your story, you'll need to engage in combat. And this is where Guild Wars 2 really tried to redefine the MMO standard back in 2012. It's not the questing that's different, the combat system is different too. Guild Wars 2 uses an active combat system. The skills on the left side of your skill bar are determined by the weapon you equip. The right side, that's customizable. You choose those skills yourself. You can also swap between weapon sets during combat, which is especially useful in more challenging encounters. During combat, you can also create what are called combo fields. If you use a skill that interacts with that field, you'll either gain a beneficial effect or deal extra damage. So getting familiar with your profession really pays off. At launch in 2012, that was the core system, but over the years it has become much deeper. In the next 3 expansions, Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, and End of Dragons, elite specializations were introduced for players who own these expansions. These add an extra layer to your profession. You gain access to additional skills, a new weapon type for your class, and even a reworked class mechanic. For example, my Elementalist can normally switch between attunements: fire, water, air, and earth. But with the Heart of Thorns expansion, I can turn my Elementalist into a Tempest, allowing me to overload an attunement to heal allies or deal more damage. Owning these 3 expansions really unlocks the full potential of your character and what they can do. Are you curious? Be sure to check out my in-depth video covering all of this. And then there are mounts, and Guild Wars 2 takes a unique approach here too. Mounts weren't available at launch, but were later introduced through expansions. They're exclusive to players who own the Path of Fire expansion or any expansions released after that. But don't expect traditional mounts like in other MMOs. Just like combat, Guild Wars 2's mounts are active and dynamic. Each mount has a unique way of moving and even blends into combat. Take the Raptor for example. It lets you move quickly and leap across long distances. Spot an enemy, engage them while mounted, and the Raptor will pull enemies together using its tail. Or the Springer, which can jump high instead of far and stuns enemies when you land on them. There are plenty of mounts to unlock, either through the story or by completing collection achievements. Each one has its own special abilities and fits seamlessly into exploration and combat. Once you've defeated your enemies, you can also gather materials, either from their loot or harvesting around the world. These resources can be used in crafting. Over the years, the crafting system has expanded with new ways to craft gear, including items with unique stat combinations. There's a lot to craft. In 2015, the scribe crafting discipline was introduced, allowing you to create sigils and upgrades for your weapons. More recently, Homestead crafting was added through the mastery system. This allows you to craft decorations for your own personal homestead, introduced in the Janthir Wilds expansion in 2024. And now I want to talk about the community, because Guild Wars 2 has one of the most welcoming communities out there. One of the things I like the most: you don't compete against other players for kills or resources. If someone else is fighting a mob or harvesting a node, you can jump in. Everyone gets full credit and full loot. That small design choice makes the whole game feel more cooperative and less toxic, especially for new players. You can also join up to 5 guilds at the same time. That's right, 5 guilds. So you can be in a casual social guild, a hardcore raid group, a world versus world veteran focus team, and still have room left for another guild or two. Guilds unlock extra content like guild missions, shared storage and massive guild halls, huge custom spaces your guild can upgrade and decorate. And if you enjoy helping others, there is a dedicated mentor system that lets veteran players guide newcomers in-game. You'll often see players with a little apple icon next to their name, and that's a mentor offering to help out. So whatever player you are, you'll find your place. But after all that crafting and fighting, what can you do once you reach the maximum level? Well, there's plenty. You can work your way into endgame content like raids, Fractals of the Mists, or strike missions. These are high-level, challenging instances that offer unique experiences and valuable rewards. So get your armor ready, master your profession and dive in. But if you're more into open world gameplay, there's a lot for you too. In fact, most of the game's content happens at max level, especially in the expansion area. And if you want to return to lower level zones, no problem, the game features level scaling. So everything adjusts to your level, and that way, nothing ever feels too easy or rushed. You can also jump into PvP, or world versus world, if you're interested in testing your skills against other players. These modes offer their own rewards, achievements and competitive experiences. So where are we now in late 2025 and heading into 2026? As of now, the story of Janthir Wilds, the latest expansion released in 2024, has concluded. And a new expansion is set to launch in October 2025. Bringing in new maps, stories and maybe even more. Depending on when you're watching this, more details may already be available, but you can expect quarterly updates with fresh areas, new achievements and additional masteries. There's always something new to explore. And even though Guild Wars 2 is now over 13 to 14 years old, it still has no monthly subscription. It gets regular seasonal updates and continues to have a thriving player base. So, is Guild Wars 2 worth playing in 2025 and 2026? Absolutely. The game continues to have solid updates, new content and fresh expansions. We don't yet know exactly what 2026 will bring, whether it's a new expansion or even Guild Wars 3, but there's one thing for sure. Just like before, Guild Wars games always have systems in place to carry over your achievements and progression. Right now there is already so much content in the game that will keep you busy for years, and with new content every season, like the Homestead system in Janthir Wilds, there's always something new to explore and discover. It's a great game for both new and returning players, and it always feels like home, even if you have been away for a while. Honestly, it's one of the most flexible MMOs I've played when you have a busy schedule. In short, give it a shot. The base game is free, and there's plenty of content to sink your teeth into. Guild Wars 2 isn't trying to be WoW or Final Fantasy XIV, it's something different. And even in 2025, it remains one of the best games to truly lose yourself in, a world that actually rewards your time. So what do you think? Are you already playing or maybe thinking of jumping in? Let me know your thoughts and experiences in the comments. And if you're planning to pick up the game or an expansion, consider using the links in the video description. They support me as a content creator without costing you a cent extra. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!